Mm-hmm.
And when I talk with students in this way, sometimes we have classes like this, just by looking at work and talking in real time on a video like this, and then it makes an automatic recording of that to my YouTube channel that I can send you a private link to so that you can listen to your lesson again, because sometimes there's a lot to remember, and so you can look back on it. So one of the things I like about Google Hangouts is because we can do screen share for free.
Yeah.
So that's a nice thing, that just along the sidebar, if you take your mouse and hover along the left side of your screen, you'll see a whole bunch of icons pop up. So we can screen share and chat and do question and answers and switch camera views and all those kinds of things. So like I have my webcam right now on my laptop, but I also have a high definition webcam that if I want to show you something on an artwork, then and demonstrate something that way I can, or I have a Wacom bamboo drawing tablet to show you. So if you've done a drawing and I want to give you some input, I'll just pull up, screen share your image on the screen, and then draw for you on it what are some suggestions or corrections to what you've done. So it's very possible to have lessons online. In fact, I've had students all over the world. Like there was a girl I worked with in China this year, and she just got accepted to SVA, School of Visual Arts in New York, and then she also got an acceptance to Pratt and got a scholarship too. She was much farther away than you guys. So I gather you're in the northern states, is that right?
Yeah, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, yeah.
Yeah, and which is not so far either, that if you did want to come for summer camp, we do organize lodging with other families and other students taking our courses, which can be a rich experience. Of course, there's other ways that you could stay in Guelph, which is the city I live in. It's near Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So you could arrange other lodging opportunities. But I like the hosting, finding a good match, because it's just an interesting experience to share your enthusiasm for animation together, right?
That's
so
great.
It might be something, because it's really not that far, a bus or a train ride, or your parents can drive you up and go on a vacation, who knows. So we can talk more about that, but let's look at your work first and see and ask some of the questions that you might have.
I just wanted to give you a little background. I mean, Sam, I'm going to kind of speak for you, Sam. So Sam started out his interest really based on enjoying doing the animation on the computer.
Yeah, I have a few screenshots actually on my computer.
And sort of that was where his interest really got started. And then he started thinking, gee, I really love doing this. If this is something I want to do professionally, and so he started researching. And that's when he realized, oh, I can't just be good at this on the computer. I really have to learn to draw better. And he's always loved to draw, but has never taken any formal classes or lessons. And so that's sort of what led into, well, maybe you should take some art classes. So he's really, I think, at the beginning of this process. And I guess what we're looking for is some guidance in terms of is he going in the right direction, and does it look like he, is somebody who has potential from what you see? I mean, I think he's incredible, but I'm his mother, so.
I know. I got the same thing. I have a daughter, and always think she's awesome, right?
That's right. I'm like, wow, that's amazing what you're doing, but I don't know.
So I mean, those are good things to ask, and you would probably want to know too, Sam, of what your potential is, and when I see students in the early phases, just what potential do I see in you, and what kind of learning curve would you have, right? So those are all great questions that
I'm very open
parents
to
have.
more as well.
Pardon?
I'm very open to learning more as well.
Good. Well, that's the first thing. So that you're wanting to get into animation and you're great with the computer, it'll be great to see what you can do. And have you, by chance, listened to the interview I did with Mike L. Murphy on my YouTube channel?
I don't think I have.
Okay, because he addresses that very question, and he explains it
I'm going to get you a pen. I'll be right back. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back.
I will send you the link to the playlist. So Mike Murphy has a website called the successfulanimator.com. Okay, and he did he did Lord of the Rings. He did the Gollum character, and he's worked on Iron Man, and he did the Iron Giant and robots, and
awesome.
Meet the Robinsons, and all kinds of great stuff. And so he did a wonderful hour-long interview with me, and it's so entertaining and full of fantastic tips for animators that, and like people like you, they say, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And so the number one thing, he says, is you got to check your levels. How, motivated and dedicated are you? So the first thing is you got to be like somewhere between a 7 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, and you say, I really want this. And I hear in you a lot of enthusiasm. So that's your number one thing. Because with the will, you can learn, right? Yeah. And with the hard work, you can learn to do it. And then knowing where to go to learn that is the next step then. So he says you got to love it, and you got to want it. You got to work hard, and then you have to find the right instruction to develop those skills in, of course, a more efficient way. You don't want it to take forever. And that's one of the things that Garth and I do, too. We really try to help families. How can you get to your goal in the least amount of time with the least expense? Because it can be quite a long exploration of learning, especially for animation. So you're right that you both decided, wow, I love animation. I'm great at the computer. Oh, we've got another family member here. Who's this?
He's the most important family member.
You draw him sometimes? You made any animation stories about him?
No, I haven't. I shouldn't have
No?
He's
So,
sorry to distract you. I just,
That's okay. So Sam, so like I was saying, you got your motivation and the will. You've got that, so that's good. You love animation. You've identified that you're good at it on the computer. One of the things that Mike talks about in this interview I've mentioned to you is the importance that you know how to draw. That yes. And I get this question all the time, and that's why I asked him about this. I wanted to hear it right from the horse's mouth when somebody's working in the field successfully. How important is drawing if you're going to be working on the computer? And he says it's paramount important. Drawing is the language of filmmaking and of animation and how we communicate our ideas to each other. So part of it, and it's also how you access your creative mind and get those ideas out. So it's true that there's many there's a huge umbrella of different types of animation and jobs within animation, where some drawing is more important, some painting and creating backgrounds is more important. Others, the storytelling or the character development is more important, or it might be lighting. So there's many different aspects within animation, but if you're going to be studying it and working in that field, you still need to draw well. Some people will be masters of it, and others will have a fundamental skill. But yes, it is important. So I'm glad that you've been starting to develop your skills. Now, how old are you, and what level of school are you in right now?
So I'm in 10th grade right now, and I'm 16 years old. And right now I'm in a very, very small school. I actually decided to switch schools next year, so I'll have a lot bigger art center, and I play a lot of music, so I'll have a lot of more music and just a lot more opportunities, so I'll be able to build my art there.
Great. Well, that's going to be good that you have a school where there's some good learning resources there. What I've found for every student I've met so far, except for the specialized art schools, um, like it's very rare for a student to get accepted directly out of high school into an animation program. For example, at Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario, and he gets the top ranked one in the world. CalArts is second out in California. But they have about 5% of their applicants get accepted out of high school. And most of those students who do get accepted come from art high schools, where there's specialized arts schools. So that the more art training you have, or media arts, any of those things that you have in your high school, it's really going to help you to have that part of your high school experience, right? So that's good. It was a wise decision, if this is where you want to go, that you have that. So it's great to hear that you're young and you're thinking ahead, because it is generally a fairly long learning curve, like I said, so you need to get some basics, and you did take an art course. So we're going to look at your work and I'll give you some input where you're at now, and then give you some guidance. What else would you need to do? Okay?
I have a question. From
Yeah.
your experience, as far as career choice in this day and age, are there jobs out there? Is this a good path for a young person to pursue and expect that they will be employed and be able to support themselves and all of that?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a question that most parents are asking, right? Yeah. So there is work in animation, in a variety of ways. I mean, one of the ways to know that is when you go to the movies and you see the millions of names at the end of a movie, you know there's employment, and you know that TV shows and the big movies, but even just if you even just surf on the net, on YouTube, or look at a variety of websites, animation is around us, and there's different levels of work that you can be employed in. So, and it can be as simple as creating advertisements for local businesses or businesses online, or it could be working on blockbuster films.
Yeah.
So there's quite a range. In any field of endeavor, if you're dedicated, you can find employment, right? Yeah. Now, one of the things, the reason that Mike L. Murphy made SuccessfulAnimator.com is because he wanted to help students learn, okay, now that you've been through college and you learned the skills of animation, how do you get your first, second, your third job? How do you manage that freelance cycle? Because gone are the days of getting a 5-year contract with Disney. It's all movie by movie, project by project now. So, I mean, so sometimes it's a bit of soul searching of, what kind of person are you, and what would suit the way you are, right? That, are you the kind of person, or are you willing to learn things like, okay, so this is some of the things that Mike teaches. Okay, I got to learn how to land that first job, and then once I've got it, I know I need to be keeping an eye out for the next job, and then there might be a gap between that second job and the third job. And so, because he said a lot of young people, and they've worked on a big movie and they feel like they're rich, and then they blow all their money and buy fancy cars and have an awesome lifestyle, and then it's too long before the next contract and they're broke. It's this boom or bust thing. So one of the things he tries to teach people even is simple money management of how do you make sure you stay employed and make sure you put some money aside, not just spend it all. So there's a lot of things so you have to know that in animation, especially if you're after the big movies and getting on those real great shows, that you have to be able to know how to find the work and manage that freelance cycle of up and down, right?
Yep.
And to know, are you the kind of person that's willing to relocate, that's willing to go through that cycle? Are you a good team player? Because animation is really done in a big team where you're doing a small piece of it in a big machine of other people. So that's often the way it is if you want to work on big films,
right,
or TV shows that repeat. But there's a lot of other ways to work. Let's say you want to work as an individual artist, and you're making your own films. Like Garth, that does my teaching for me for the animation students, he does short films. He's got his own projects, and he does a lot of animation for local businesses, sort of as his bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
And he teaches really because he just loves to teach and he wants to pass things off. It's not really that that's his income.
Okay.
So does that answer some of the question? The other thing that you might be interested to know, if you get into the guild, you know, average salaries, that if you're working on the big movies and you make it to that level, you know, if you get in the guild, I mean, you're making $90,000.
Yeah.
Average incomes in the U.S. among animators, they're as low as $18,000 a year, but usually averaging somewhere between $24,000 up to about, you know, over $100,000. The greater number of employed animators, from the research I've been able to do, there's a lot that lay in the between 40 and 60,000 US dollars a year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big triangle of a lot of people working on a film, right? All these technicians. And then it's the sort of the above the line creators and producers and the creative story builders that are in that higher echelon that make the bigger bucks. But I think you might want to check out Mike Murphy and follow him a bit, because his whole thing is mentoring young animators how to get employed and stay employed, and how to have that fantastic career like he's had and a lot of his colleagues have had. Mm-hmm. So it is certainly possible. But it's a lot up to you and knowing what suits you, right? And picking a niche that ends up fitting who you are, right?
Yeah.
So it could be that you're chasing the work around the world and you love the excitement of that, or it could be that, hey, I'm going to do my own work and my own animations for businesses and different organizations and settle in a smaller town and be happy doing that. There's always one way or another. Your income probably wouldn't be as high, but you'd be happy, right? So what do you feel kind of just at this early stage in your life, what kind of grabs you right now? Are you one of those people who want to work on those big films? What kind of grabs your interest?
I would love to do that.
You would?
Not really sure, but yeah.
Well, what I've heard from people, that when they start studying in an animation program, that's when they sort of find out what they love and what they're good at within the umbrella of animation.
Yeah.
So the first thing is to develop drawing skills and storytelling skills. And there's a variety of, and then of course character design, right? So there's several layers of education that you need. And so one of the first things is that love of storytelling and creative ideas and original ideas. So that's something you could start kind of thinking about and sketching in your sketchbook. Lots of stories and storyboards, because really when a school is picking a student, they're not just assessing do they have the drawing skill to be able to handle the program and to envision these characters or the scenes that they're in. They're looking for students with really good ideas. Because a lot of the animation programs that are good, they have a reputation just as much as Disney or Pixar does, or any of the great animation studios. So they are sort of, they're trying to keep up their brand and their reputation by who do they let in, and are you going to be the next, awesome animator that's going to go out there and
Yeah.
make the next big thing. So your ideas are the most important, and that they're original ideas to you. Okay, so you can study other characters and learn about it through them, but come up with your own characters, right?
Yeah.
And your own stories that maybe aren't the same as what we've already seen. So really challenge yourself how to think creatively. So that's one big aspect that you need to develop, okay? Let's look at some of your drawings to look at, because I see that you've done a lot of learning. And so you need a good basic drawing skill in perspective drawing, in object drawing, in animals, and in people, right? And so we want to be able to have an understanding of that so that we can tell the story. What's the character doing in that setting, right?
Okay.
So that's one of the first things. Let's have a look at your work, and then we can talk more about it. So in what I've found so far, let me see, where is your work? What did I do with it? Hang on a minute. I gotta go find. I'm gonna just drop my screen and go find the screen of your drawings you sent me. This one? Oh no, I think I put them. Gotta find where I put them. Oh yeah, I put them in the drive. No, I didn't. Where did I stick those? So while I'm looking for this, you guys have any questions?
So do you think it's like a risky job or not? Not that much if you're motivated to do it.
I think there's work in it. It might be something you want to research more, and I can also I can check with, maybe I'll try shooting a line to Mike Murphy and having a little chat with him and asking him that question. And also, when I hear from Garth again, it would be interesting to find out from him what he knows about the amount of employment. There is a great resource too. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's a U.S. website that your government puts out that tracks the amount of employment in different work areas. I know. I'll see if I can find the link. I know I have that somewhere, so that you could look up for animators what's the employment, because they'll tell you, is the employment up or is it down, or what's their average salaries, all those kinds of things. So that would be a good resource for you. So
Yeah,
make sure I send you that link. Okay, so can you see one of your drawings right now in front of you?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what these drawings are, so I understand, like, what were you drawing with this shaded ring?
So this was part of the art class.
Mm-hmm.
We were just trying to learn like how negative space can kind of form itself together if you can.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah. And what image is this, though? I mean, I see it's a circular thing. What is it a drawing of?
Oh, I don't know. Just some abstract type.
Oh, it's just abstract. Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah, that's great awareness of that. Trying to change screens here. Hang on. I thought I had the whole thing up. Okay. Can you still see your drawings now?
Yep.
Okay, great. And then here we have some great shade and shadow, nice contrast. This is good. Now, and I see you've got a hollow log there and a cone, and the cone looks like it's supposed to be tilted, is it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. And then this other drawing, is this supposed to be a cube or not?
Yeah, it's a cube.
Okay. So what I see here is that you have a great understanding of shade and shadow and high contrast. That's nice to see. but you need some learning on how to draw the basic geometry really well. And that's one of the building blocks, because all characters and all scenes are made out of basic geometry. So, and I used to teach the object drawing class in the illustration program at Sheridan College, which is really a great foundational skill. So that's something that you'd have to work on, and that's something that I do have some really good videos that could teach you that. Oh, this is nice. So hand drawing, that's one of the things that's often asked for in portfolios, is to see hands doing an action, right? So that's pretty good, especially the one holding the stick, or the whatever, that pole is. So there's some, it's pretty decent. There's a little bit of anatomical work you'd need to do on the thumb area there on the lower fist, but it's coming along well. There's still, like, it's not at the level yet that you'd need to be, but you're only 16 right now, and you still got a couple of years to go. So, and we do a workshop on hand drawing, because it's one of the required drawings for a lot of portfolios for animation. So there is some videos already out that we've produced, and just some informal ones, and we will be creating more. That's one of the things that's part of our workshop list. Oh, this one's flipped. So this one's a scene in the desert, it looks like.
Yep. I actually did that for a school project.
Alright. That's cool. Well, this is coming along quite well. Like, a couple of the hands are pretty good. Like the one that's straight and the one that's kind of hanging down, relaxed.
Yeah,
it's good. So
one on the
I'll send you a link on part of the. We had a workshop and we aired a little bit of it. I still have to edit some of my video footage from our workshop. But yeah, so learning how to draw hands a little better is important. And can you tell me a bit about this portrait that you did? What was your intention with this?
Well, his eyes are too close together, but I don't know. I found a picture online. I don't really know who it is, but I found it online and just drew it.
Okay, so you're learning a little bit about portraiture, and so that's important skill, to be able to draw somebody realistically and know the proportions of faces and how to capture that. And then, so that basically cartooning or animation starts with, can you draw from life and be able to capture that accurately and become familiar with what do people look like, either as a portrait or as a body or a body in motion. And then, how can I adapt that to create a character? So one of the things Garth teaches a wonderful character design workshop, where understanding how do we distort the features to create a sense of character, right? And we know what that person's like because their eyes are close set, or their nose is long. All these things kind of have meaning to them, that we get a sense of who that person is. So this, you're right, the eyes are too close set. And so there's some basics you'll have to learn about portraiture, both like starting from photo, and then really drawing from life is important. And you have a still life here.
Yep.
And I think you've got a good start, but there's still a lot of learning that needs to be done to get you to the appropriate level. One of the also a common requirement in a portfolio for animation is object drawing, but object drawing where you're telling a story with it.
Yeah.
So that you're putting particular objects together that do show that you understand all the basic geometric forms and how to draw them well, but also then you're doing this before and after, or something happens. And it's not the usual cliche thing that we
Right.
see every time. You want to really push yourself, right, to come up with something really interesting. Oh, these are great studies. Yeah. Like learning how to draw the figure like a simplified mannequin is really a cornerstone of animation. So that's great. I see you looking at the rib cage, the shoulder girdle, and the pelvis. That's good studies like that. And then looking at movement and posture. So doing more of that and continuing with that learning is a great idea. Now you said you had some other things that you could show, right?
Yeah.
So what I see right now is that you're on a good start. And so, and when did you start drawing? Is it just this last course that you took?
No, I drew before that.
What's your first formal teaching, though? Was this one class?
Yeah, it was my first formal teaching.
Okay. Well, that's good. You know, so you've made good progress. To be able to do what you've done with just natural ability and only one course. So you're doing well, and you still have a couple of years to learn.
Yep.
And so one of the questions that you oh, I already forgot your name. Your mother. What's your mom's name again?
Cindy.
Cindy, right. Now, Cindy, you had this question of, you know, well, is he going to be good enough, and what would he have to study, and does high school make you ready or not? There's all those kinds of questions, and you're changing high school, so that's good. But what I still see pretty much across the board, and like I was saying, like only 5% of high school grads get accepted, right? High school isn't enough.
Right.
So, and then what a lot of students do that want to go into animation, they'll find somewhere a fundamentals program, like a one-year training program, or foundation studies, where they can learn the basic skills, you know, to get really good at life drawing and perspective drawing and all those basics that we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll make their portfolio to submit to animation. So in those types of programs, they give you those generalized skills that you can draw well, but they're still not geared towards animation. Animation's very specific in its skills. So yes, you need to have all those basic drawing skills that you could get in a foundation studies first year kind of freshman kind of program, or really be sure that you're actively searching out really high quality learning now while you're in high school. You know, like for example, you're talking to me and you're finding out, or you went and found that course to take. A lot of times there's really great small local schools that you can study at. Mm-hmm. And if you pick your instructor carefully, you can get the right kind of training. I have found that a lot of students tell me that they prefer coming to PortPrep because they get the exact kind of training. Because sometimes sort of those adult interest courses are sort of too hobby-based, mm-hmm. and they're not the specifics of what you need, or the kids' art camps, the teen art camps aren't specific or working at high enough level for what an animation student would want.
Yep.
So I think some combination of finding what's local to you, what you've got in your high school, and then some other learning resources that give you the specifics. So with animation, you're going to want to learn, well, how do I do character design? How do I rotate a character so that it still looks like the same character at all these, and in that body stance, no matter what angle I look at that character. You know, so there's more specifics you need to learn. So you can take a developmental sort of course in first year college and then apply, or you could do online learning. So there's a previous hangout that I did and posted it online, where I talk about some of the places that Garth, my animation specialist, recommends people look for learning resources online. There's some really great online courses that you can take and be evaluated and have projects to do. Some of them you have peers that you can kind of share with online. Now, some of these things are kind of expensive, but at least they're very specific. So a bit of learning in high school, a little bit of local art instruction, a bit of help from Garth and I at PortPrep, and some of these very specific training courses online, really high quality people.
Are those
That
done
can be
during
a
high
really
school
good
or
way
after?
to develop your skills. Pardon?
During high school or after graduation, those online programs you're talking about?
Okay, that's a good question. It could be either or. And I would recommend for you that you start by learning how to draw the basics first. So you've got a good start. We need to fine tune that. So I think one of the really efficient ways for you to fine tune your basic drawing skill would be use some of my videos, very affordable. They range between $5 to $30 for a group of videos. To your basic skills, work on your own a bit. Maybe check in with me once in a while to go over what you've done. And then maybe find somebody, once you get a sense of what really is good drawing and how do I do that, you'll have a better sense of who to pick in your hometown that's going to give you what you need.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to work one-on-one with somebody close to home. And so I think you need to develop your basic skills in high school in tandem with your high school studies. Summertime is a great time to learn, a little more. I would start developing your basic animation skills, like your cartooning, character design, character rotation. Start developing some story ideas. Learn about how to do storyboarding. Start learning about perspective drawing. So if you do a little bit every year while you're in high school, you're really going to develop better and more quickly, and you could possibly eliminate the need for doing another study first.
Yeah.
But if you take it upon yourself to learn this now with the right kinds of people and take an online training course that's geared towards animators, you can do that while you're in high school, or you could choose what some people say, I'm going to just get my basic skills while in high school, focus on my high school, then take a year of doing your own self-study by using online courses and qualified ones, right? There's some really high quality animation courses online, and you can trust their sources. And then apply to animation. But a lot of it depends on you, because you have to be a disciplined person, a person who really can work on their own and still feel motivated and excited by it. Other people, they need to be immersed in the rich, creative environment of a college, of an art college, and they're around all their peers, and they see this amazing stuff happening around them. And you feel you have all these deadlines, and you're pushed to create what you didn't even know you could put out, and you didn't even know you could work that hard. But when you're in that environment, it really is amazing what you can create and how exciting it is. And then you might see other examples of what you're aspiring to, which you don't get as much when you're working at home. It might be cheaper to work at home for a year after you're done high school, but it's not as exciting or as motivating. So a lot of it depends on you and also your family budget, right? Yep. That is it better to just get that specific training, or is it better to go take a foundations year? But I think we have to assess that in a couple of years to see how you're doing over the next 2 years and what your skill level is like by the time you're a high school senior, right? Does that make sense?
Yep. You want me to show you some of my...
Yes, I'd love to see that. So you can go hover over to the green share button. You have to have your thing, what you want to show, open on another screen. So you'll have to minimize this screen you're on right now, the Google Hangout, pull up the thing on the screen, go back to Google Hangouts, click on the green thing, then you'll see all your screens that are open pop up in front of you, and you can check the box you want and say screen share. So I'm going to put you up as the main share. Wow, look at this. This is great. And what program did you do this in?
Blender.
Okay. Nice.
One of my that was one of my older ones.
Okay.
Can you see that one?
Still on the one of the cue balls. Billiard balls. You might have to.
Oh, can you see that one?
Oh
No. Let me try this again.
You saw the first.
Yeah, I think that was.
Yep. So just minimize yourself again. Go find your screen.
Here, minimize.
Go back to Google Hangout. Click the green share button. Then your screen will come up with which choices you have of screens. Click on the one you want and say Start Screen Share.
Sorry about that. One sec.
It took me a while to get used to it. After a while, it gets easy. But do you need some help finding your way through that?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Just trying to find the other one.
Yeah. Good. So, folks, well, I don't know. I hear that I see that there's 3 other people watching. So, although you guys are probably one of them, so there's 2 people other than us. So,
okay,
yeah.
So I got them all up now.
Oh, you found all your things ready. Awesome. Okay, so whoever's listening in, welcome. I'm Karen from PortPrep, and we're talking to Sam and his mom about about how to plan out a study path for animation. So, oh great, here we go. We got some more.
One I did during Patriot season, football season.
Is that the deflated one?
No. So I did that one. The grass doesn't really look that realistic, but
yeah, wow, great start.
And someone commented on it because they had the whole Deflategate thing going on, that the balls were deflated and they cheated and everything. So
great, good. Yeah, the story is so important.
So I made this one.
Great, good. Yes, wonderful. That's really well done. That football looks amazing. So that's all computer generated. Your football.
Yep.
Excellent. Good work. Yeah.
And
so.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes. So the animation is so specialized that's why I hired Garth. That he's a recent grad from Sheridan, and because I help students know what to put in their portfolio in the right order, how to get their drawing skills up in all the various ways that you need to, how to really observe and draw really well, shade and shadow, all that stuff, expert in perspective drawing. But I wanted him because, we also need to understand how to design a character, how to tell a story, how to, all the computer programs and how to use them. And, and there's just so many specifics to animation that, I was just so happy when I found out that Garth Laidlaw in my very same town wanted to start teaching portfolios. So we said, our town's too small. Let's just work together. So we share a studio in a cooperative studio. It's a really exciting place to be, and lots of great artists there. And so that I would want to put you in contact with Garth to be able to really look at the specifics of your computer work and your animation work. Really, you got some beautiful work. This is great. Really nice.
Thank you.
How was this one done? What program did you use this for?
This is all Blender.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Can you share a video or no?
I don't know. I made a little animation video over the summertime, but it's not very.
We can see.
detailed or anything.
Oh, it's
I
really
still love to see it.
so.
Yeah, can we see it?
Sure. I don't know how to share it, but.
So what you can do, if you go to that screen and pull it up, what we can do is we can see it, and we can see it move, but we can't hear the sound usually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So nice to see supportive, interested parents. I love that. That's a big plus. I have to say, like, and I've heard this from people that I've met, like colleagues that are successful. In fact, there was one fellow that was I met at Sheridan College as a student when I was teaching there, and we both ended up in Guelph again after, because I was living closer to the college for a while. But he said that one of the reasons he was so successful, because he took illustration, and for that particular program, they'd have about 2,000 applicants for 150 spots, so he got accepted to that. Mm-hmm. He was one of 70 that graduated 4 years later, and he's one of 7 who's working in his field as a professional illustrator.
That's awesome.
And he said he attributes that very much to the support of his mother. And for a couple of reasons. He said, one, her belief in him that he should study what he loves, and that they helped support him to do that. Her support that he should, always go after, just learn the most he can, and it's not about the grade, it's about pushing how much he's learning. So he really took that to heart. And he said he never took the criticism from the instructors, which was tough. Yeah. He never felt upset about it. He just wanted to learn. Yeah. And he used to call up professional, famous illustrators as a student and talk to them and ask them questions and learn from them. And people love helping students. Yeah. And he'd get all this wonderful input. And you know what was wonderful, though? Because he started this relationship as a student, he ended up getting job referrals that way. And he's now very successful, does a lot of work for the New Yorker magazine, etc. Cool. And but he said another reason why when he graduated, his mom chose to allow him to stay at home for a couple of years, so that as long as he was working hard, building his career. And so, and he took that very seriously and with a lot of gratitude. And he made sure he was going after jobs, and till he was so secure that he had a good career and he was able to go out on his own. Because he said a lot of his friends and his peers, they had a problem that they had a big student loan to pay, and they had to go out and just get any job. And then they ended up getting stuck in the job. So if you're going to study something and put all that time and money into it, that's why, like Mike Murphy says, you got to check your levels. Are you at a high level that you're willing to do the hard work to be able to do it, and to keep pushing when you graduate, to keep looking for the work in your field? That, you got to maybe pay that student loan, but he said don't go into it and go into debt if you don't absolutely love it, because it's hard work and it's a long learning curve. Yeah. So, but I love hearing when I see families that are supporting somebody, a young person's goal, that belief really stands behind you to bolster you. And when I see parents, part of the conversation, I do see those students being a lot more successful. It's not impossible. Anybody can do it if they've got the will. Yep. But it does help. So it's wonderful that you've got that there behind you. Yeah. So you found some more stuff? Can we see it?
There's a link, too. Just send her the link. She won't be able to be shared, but...
Oh, okay. But I'd love to see it, yeah. And right now, Garth is traveling in Africa, so he won't be back till June, but he'll be with me to do the summer camps again. And he certainly does online classes or workshops or one-on-ones with students, so that he could help assess your your character design and your animations, and give you some really good input. He's just the nicest young man you could meet. People just love studying with him. Yeah.
So
his heart's in a good place.
How can I show it to you?
He's got it on YouTube, so he can pull that.
Okay, so what you do, you pull up that video on YouTube, right? So in fact, I'll show you one right now. So I'm going to minimize. I just minimized my Google, and then I go, okay, I've got YouTube open here, and so I open up my YouTube tab, and then I go back to my Google Chrome icon at the bottom. Oops. I go to screen share, the green button on the side. And then I say, okay, where's my YouTube? There it is, YouTube, and share. And so now this is one of my YouTube pages, and so one of the videos I want you to watch, just give me a minute, I'm going to minimize this for a second so I can do it.
Sounds like she wants you to minimize that Google screen.
No, I did. I'm just going to show you. So here's a video I did that I want you to go and watch because it's about animation learning resources.
Okay.
And I could pull that up full screen. Are you seeing this?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you can do that too. You can go to your YouTube and show me. So I'm just going to stop sharing that. Okay, and I got to minimize this. So go ahead and go pull up your YouTube video. Alright?
Can you see it?
And then I'm just gonna, yep.
So
push play, because right now it's a black screen. Push play. There we go. Here we can see it. Oh, I can even hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Can you?
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, so push play. Let's see it.
Locked.
I do Rubik's Cube a lot, so I put that in.
Awesome. Great. Good. So, this can end up being part of your portfolio, right?
Yeah. That was really that was like somewhere too. So I've also with like tutorials and stuff I've learned more like the background I did with that. I just made another plane and then inserted a photo onto it. But I've learned how to do like more professional type stuff that looks better than that now.
Great. Good. Good. So, so when we're done here, I think it would be really great for you to go and watch the video. I'll send you a link to it so it's easy to find. That where I talk about animation learning resources.
Okay.
Where I mentioned some of the online resources that Garth recommends. We're working on an e-book too that will give students more ideas of what to study and where and how to develop those skills. We're going to be running our summer camp that if it did work out for you guys to send you on up to Guelph for a week or two. What we're going to be doing next summer, we've decided to make it, because like last year, I'll show you some stuff what we were doing. Just a second here.
Sorry, it's on the computer.
What did I do with it? Oh, I know, it's down here. Just looking for something here. Hang on. Ah, yes. Okay. Here, screen share. Alright, so last year we had a summer camp where just Garth and I were teaching. So that's some of my work, some of Garth's work there. And so we had courses where I was teaching something called brain splitting for better drawing. So basically learning how the left and the right brain work, and how do we see how to create the illusion of shade and shadow and really become a master of drawing objects, and how to really create proper shade and shadow and understanding of that. How to think creatively, how to manage your message, meaning how do I get a person to look where I want them to, where the main action is, and where do I want them to look second, where do I not want them to look. So there's a way to do that. How to draw perspective, learning about different media, making a really wow portfolio piece, because every portfolio has got to start with a bang. So those were the sort of courses, short courses. I was teaching like sort of 3-day intensive courses, and Garth was doing 4 evening courses. So people would come and spend the day with me, and then they'd stay the evening with Garth. And he was teaching figure anatomy basics, creating worlds for the future, like how to make environments, right? And how to create fantastical worlds. Concept art, and looking into game design and how to improve your drawing, storyboarding, how to bend buildings and warp the perspective, and all about character, where he looked at character design, character rotation, how to create story all around the character. So we had broken it up that way. What we're going to do this year, because we think it's going to work a lot better for more people, what we plan instead, sorry, I'm going to come back to our hangout here. What we're planning instead this year is, so that it works for people's holiday schedules too, that we're going to have during the day, we're going to have some basic drawing skills, and we're going to have more than one artist teaching different aspects. So we'll have specialized artists doing portraiture and figure. We'll be getting a basic, drawing skills of objects and shade and shadow and how to draw the hand and all those kinds of things. And then in the evenings, it'll be with Garth, looking at various aspects of animation. And so what we're going to do is, when people sign up, we're going to assess who's there and what skills they ideally need. So you're really going to get the proper animation in the evening and all the proper drawing skills during the day. So it's a really full day of learning, but we don't start too early because most teens want to sleep a bit in the morning. So we sort of start a little bit later. So that we'll be offering packages 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, whatever works for people. But we're expecting that people will be coming for a week to 2 weeks rather than signing up for the whole summer, because people got to come and go. So if it works for you to come on up to Guelph, and we can help you find a proper host family that can be trusted. Yep. So I think that would be a great opportunity, or see what you can find near where you live. It's surprising how many animators are out there teaching those skills. So what you want to look for, if you're not going to come up to work with us, is to look for character design elements, character rotation, storyboarding, right? And perspective drawing. Those things are all really important too. And then movement, right? So you're right. You want to take a figure drawing class. Absolutely. But before you can really do that, Sam, I think you need to develop your ability to see better. How do you see what's in front of you and get that on the page? So I think a perfect place to start for you would be to get my Drawn to Success study guide. It's a self-help PDF study guide that teaches you how to see and the process of drawing. It works in conjunction with a book called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. It's been out since the 60s. It's like the Bible of how to learn how to draw. It really works. But the problem with it is that you don't need to do the whole book. You don't need to read the whole book. What really is the main thing that you need is what my study guide does. And it short forms it so that I've taught people how to draw really well in only a month.
Yeah.
So you're good, but you've got to develop a little more, and you need some knowledge about how to draw perspective in objects properly. And I have a series of videos that teach that. So if you're going to look for a local instructor, you need to find somebody who really understands proper perspective and proper geometric drawing, or you could choose to get some of my videos that are really specific towards that kind of learning.
Are there any, do you have any ones that you kind of have like this, but like a class 101?
Oh, like an online class, like a group online class?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. We haven't done it yet, but we do want to. And I think it's a good idea because it makes it more affordable to students, right?
Yeah.
Because oftentimes what people have been doing with me is they order some private tutorial videos, watch them, do the work, and then they'll have a follow-up lesson with me in this format where we use Google Hangouts. We pull up their drawing, I draw on it, we talk about it, or I print it out and use my webcam on my tripod, and we talk about it in this sort of way that we are now, except that we're looking at your drawings. So, you know, it's private lesson combined with video learning. So my private lessons are $65 for an hour. You get the recording of it to watch over, and the video learning, you know, it's just a much more affordable and efficient way to do it. But it is a good idea, and it is a goal for Garth and I to be doing group online courses, but we don't have that organized yet. If we do get enough people together interested, and maybe we'll start putting some feelers out for that, we could be, you know, doing some Google Hangout courses. So I think we'll probably do a little bit of that this summer as well. Pretty much the portfolio season is winding down now. I keep getting emails every day now of, oh, I got accepted. So things are slowing down a little bit, and then in the summer, that's when students get interested again because they're not so busy in school. So I think we'll try to do that and see if we can get a few people signed up that can't. You know, they're not going to make the trip to Ontario. You know,
you think that
and it's a bit more affordable, right?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Do you think that if I
is for the week to go?
Do you know what the cost is for the week?
Let's see. So like I'm just working on creating that programming now and talking to some local instructors that I know are high quality. So I haven't got the figures yet for that, but what I could tell you, like for example, last year, the 3-day intensive course with me, any of those ones were $150 Canadian dollars. And your dollar is worth more than the Canadian dollar. We haven't been doing so well up here compared to you guys. So that's kind of nice for you. It gives you more buying power. Garth's courses were $120 for the 4 evenings. So basically if you're coming for a week, and then you're going to have the day and the evening. So basically it's going to be, you know, about $300 for a week, right?
Wow, that's not bad.
So
yeah, it's really
so it's pretty. We really try to make it really affordable for families because we just care. We don't want this to be that it's only for people with money, because we love the arts, and people that are talented and love the arts, it doesn't matter where you come from, and talent comes from anywhere. And so we really try to keep things affordable, and then we just try to get enough sign-ups that we can make it run. And we generally don't cancel our courses either. We really try, even if it's only a few students, we try to make sure it runs, because we know we want to help those people that are dedicated to this.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy, you had a question?
This is Ontario? Is that where are they?
Yeah, I live in Ontario, Canada, near Toronto. So that's one of the bigger cities. So it's really, that's not that far from where you guys live, really.
Right. Okay.
So,
6 hours?
I'm not sure. Okay.
But you think that it's possible, like, the people that you help are usually out of high school?
Nope, most of them are high school seniors.
Okay, and they usually and with your help, they usually have good turnouts?
Well, in fact, every single one of them has been accepted.
That's great.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And so I work with students from any visual art, interior design, graphic design, fine arts, architecture, animation. Now, animation, you have to understand, is a more challenging field to get accepted into.
Yeah.
So, and that it's a very common experience that you do not get accepted out of high school. It's generally you're going to be taking at least 1 year of college, sometimes between 2 and 3. People apply more than once repeatedly until they finally get accepted. Yeah. So that the one area that might end up not working out with our 100% acceptance rate could be animation. So far, though, all the news we're getting is everybody's been getting accepted. I'm still waiting on some of the reports, but so that you get, most of my students get their first choice and several offers, but they all at least get into one of their top 3. About 98% of them are in their top choice school, and oftentimes with scholarships. So, like, there was a girl got accepted last year into Rhode Island School of Design with a scholarship. Another girl got accepted into Ringling Computer Animation with a scholarship.
That's the one that.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That might be a good one for you since you're really into the computer work.
Yeah.
Right? So, and there's video lessons with those students that got into those top ranking schools, because they hired me not because they doubted that they could get accepted, but because they needed and they wanted and needed to get a scholarship. So that's why they hired my services, and they did it. The 2 students that year from the U.S. that hired me did get several offers and got several offers of scholarships. So, it's a good track record that I think you can have faith in, because it's proven itself that everywhere, all the students around the world, they've all been accepted. And it's so exciting. It's so fun for me that I'm able to help them, gain the confidence, gain the skill they need, and get into their top choice school. So, yeah, and like I said, this year we've got offers from Pratt and Parsons and SVA, so awesome schools. And then there's some really great schools in Ontario here where the students keep emailing me every day that they've been getting acceptances to some of the top schools in Canada, so it's really great too. And then they have to choose which one. That's a hard choice too. But so do you have any other questions? And I'm wondering if you guys could stop screen share, because all I see is a black screen of YouTube. Can you stop your screen share and then go back to your view?
Oh, I thought it was on. I thought it was on us.
There's a little button that says stop screen share.
Did we stop it?
Because it's still showing your YouTube. So you actually, if you go to that screen, your YouTube screen, there should be a place that just says stop screen sharing, just near the bottom.
That work?
It's still there. Just go black. And then try, oh well, let's see. You try going back to your Chrome icon. Oh, no, maybe. Oh, there you guys are. Hi, you're back. It's just nice to have a face instead of looking at a black screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought we were on the whole time.
Yeah. So, do you folks have any other questions right now?
I don't have any other questions. You, Sam?
No, I think that's it.
So, okay. So, Sam, what I would say, if you go and listen to that video where I talk about learning resources, that's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to send you some recommendations of what I think, when I see where you're at now, how I could help you, or what kinds of things I think you should be looking for from some other learning resources.
Okay.
So, of the kinds of things you need.
Okay.
And as a place to start, right? And then once we get into that, one of the things that Garth and I do too, we consult with families to give them an education plan. Mm-hmm. And we'll write out for you what we'd recommend for you. I think the place to start is just to start getting some basic drawing skills, and I can help you with that. Okay. And then I'm sure you could find some other local resources too.
I would love to take classes with you.
Okay. And then when we'll see how you're doing and how quickly you progress, mm-hmm. And that will tell us a lot. I'm going to read something to you for a minute. Just give me a second here. I'm just going to look up Rebecca here. She just got back to us today. So listen to this. Because it's a really interesting thing that she said. So Rebecca Simpson, she's a senior high school student in grade 12, and she came to us in the fall of just this previous year, in December actually, I think it was. So this is what she says. She writes to Garth and I thought you should be among the first to know this morning I was accepted into the animation program for fall 2015. Mm-hmm. And as hard as I worked on my portfolio, I absolutely owe this acceptance to the two of you. My improvement over the last 2 months has been unbelievable, and there's no doubt in my mind that I would be where I am with my skills had it not been for your mentoring. I can still remember my first assessment with Karen in December 2014. She told me that at the level I was at, I was about 2 years away from getting accepted into the program. And now, here I am, 4 months later, accepted on my first try. Because it's really common for that school that she got accepted into to apply like year after year. Like I've heard of students applying 3 years in a row. Wow. Or taking illustration first, or a couple of years of art fundamentals. And Garth, he took art fundamentals for 1 year and got accepted out after that year, which is good. He's a very talented young man. She says, it's absolutely surreal. I'm still having trouble believing it, but I wanted to make sure one of the first things I did was to thank the two of you. Thank you so much for the time and effort you invested in me. I can't say enough times how grateful I am. So I'm amazed because we were kind of trying to plan for her. So part of what we did for her and her family, we had a meeting with Garth and I and her parents, and we looked at her work, and we said, okay, let's come up with a plan for your education. And so we were looking at, should she study art fundamentals? It's a program at Sheridan. Should she study illustration? Should she study private classes, like some of these online programs? And we were trying to prepare her that where she was at, she wasn't ready to be accepted yet. She was good, and she was determined, but she just wasn't there with her skill level yet. But she decided she's going to try anyway. And she took a bunch of the workshops that we offered over Christmas and, late fall, early winter. And, oh, my gosh, she did it. So
Awesome.
2 years of learning pushed into 4 months, and she did it. So, with the right pointed, effort and the right instruction, it can be possible, right? She was more developed than you are now with her drawing ability, but she was also a high school senior. You're starting young. You've got the right thing. So, it's really possible you could do it.
Okay.
So it all depends on you, right?
Yeah.
And what you do with what you learn. So I'll send you some resources, and we'll get started, and then we might want to say, okay, maybe let's have a meeting with Garth and I, and let's get an education plan for you when we see better. So what I'm trying to say, why I wanted to share with you about Rebecca, is that she had an accelerated learning. Like she did, and you might too, or you might have you might take a slower path. Everybody's different in how they learn, right? And I would continue to develop those computer graphic skills of yours, and exploring different types of, maybe you're going to learn After Effects. Maybe you want to play around with Maya, right? And try some different things. Continue with that learning too, right? Do you have a sketchbook?
Yeah, I do.
So I'd love to see that sometime. Maybe we'll have another time, because I said I was going to give you a free lesson.
Okay.
How about we have a little look at that sketchbook, because sketchbooks are so important to animators. And there are a lot of times when we see what a student's really capable of, when we see their sketchbook, especially in animation, because that's where all those ideas are, and all the stories, and all those little characters. So maybe we can have another meeting, and we'll look at that together. How would that be?
That sounds great.
Okay. Because that's usually, so many times when I see that sketchbook, then I go, yes, this person's an animator. Or, maybe this person's a game designer. There was one girl we worked with this fall too, a friend of Rebecca's, that she wasn't sure, should she do animation or should she do game design? Her computer skills were fantastic. Her ideas were wonderful. And she was really into gaming and very smart about understanding the programming behind game design. And she didn't have the drawing skill. And she didn't have the will to train that hard, to bring her drawing skill up to where it would have to be. And so what we worked with her on, the drawing skills she'd really need, and just helping her more with her game design. And so she decided, no, animation isn't for her, game design is. So, and sometimes it's figuring that out too. And a lot of times when we see that sketchbook, we get a kind of a glimpse into the mind of the student artist, and it tells us better. It starts to help us see, hey, maybe what about that over there? Have you thought about that? So yeah, so we can set up another meeting to do that. It's really been a pleasure to meet you, and yeah. I love that you just called me up last summer to find out about the summer camp.
Yeah.
Today, so many young people are so used to texting and hiding behind their technology. They don't know how to pick up a phone and just talk to somebody. So it shows that you're dedicated, and that's a big part of it. So you're going to love listening to Mike Murphy. Yeah, that's really going to be a good check for you. In fact, I had another student, she listened to the Mike Murphy interview, and she thought she wanted to be an animator, and then she listened to it, and she went, oh, no, I'm not willing to work that hard. I don't have a level 10 enthusiasm. And she looked at how well you have to draw, and she realized she drew okay, but she didn't have it in her either. But what she did discover, she was amazing at graphics. And she's such a good graphic designer now, and so she learned how to really develop that ability, and she's got multiple offers this year now too. Yeah. So those are things that we could discover too as we get to know each other. I can see your work a little more.
So, Karen, will you be able to just will you be able to send Sam, or maybe you already have the information, but some links to like the video that you want him to see, and the study guide program that you do, and the summer camp, like just or unless it's, you know how to access all of this, do you?
No, I
Yeah.
don't have a lot of it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. A lot of it you can find simply by going to my my website, and going to the resource tab. That is an automatic link to the Drawn to Success study guide that you can just download. But yeah, I'll send you a list. I'll send you links to things that I think are valuable to you, free resources, anything that I'm going to recommend to you to be part of your study path. With PortPrep, I'll delineate for you so it's very clear and easy to understand. And then you guys can pick what you feel is right for you. Okay?
That's great.
Thank you so much for your call.
Thanks so much.
Welcome. It's been a pleasure to talk to both of you. And thanks for being willing to share your questions and your drawings with other people. I guess we had a couple of viewers kind of listen in because maybe they're wondering about the same things. So thanks so much for doing that.
Thank you so much.
Great. So I'll be getting that together for you soon. I'll start with a few free links, and then it'll take me a little while to kind of organize everything for you as well.
Yeah.
But in the next couple of days, I'll keep sending you some stuff. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.